very warm welcome to the first issue of The Missing Link. We are all aware that the Earth has finite fossil fuel reserves. Moreover, burning fossil fuels actually emit a lot of greenhouse gases. Ethanol blending is a process in which we can derive ethanol from different food grains and we can use that ethanol to mix with petroleum. The resultant fuel is called ethanol blended petroleum. This not only allows us to use the same amount of fossil fuel for a little longer, but ethanol blended petroleum actually emits lesser greenhouse gases. There are many good points associated with ethanol blending, but this issue has given birth to an array of problems as well. In this analysis, we shall be critically evaluating all the positive and negative aspects of ethanol blending. We shall be doing this not just from the global perspective, but specifically from the Government of India's point of view. We will be discussing at length and in detail whether the steps taken by the Government of India are actually in line, taking into the balance both the industry and the farmer and the food security, or it is missing in some aspects. All of this shall be taken care of in the first edition of The Missing Link. When we talk about the Government of India's policy regarding ethanol blending, one major thing needs to be established right at the onset of this analysis. The Government of India has set a target that by 2030, India will be introducing 20% ethanol blending. However, the Government of India has recently preponed this target and now we shall be achieving 20% ethanol blending by next year, 2025. And the government has also set ambitious targets that it will try to achieve 25% ethanol blending in the next few years as well. More on this analysis later on in the video. When we talk about ethanol blending, we derive ethanol from the food grains. Which food grains, to be specific? Maize, sugarcane and broken rice. We need to analyze that all of these crops have one thing in common. Before I begin with the discussion on each crop separately and how they are being used not just globally and in India and what all problems they have given birth to, let me give a very broad analysis to give you in the first place itself. All of these crops, maize, sugarcane and rice, you guessed it right, they are all kharif crops. They require a lot of water. We are all aware that on Earth right now, we are observing something as a warmer atmosphere. If you want a detailed analysis on the warmer atmosphere, I have already made a detailed video on that. But nevertheless, we are all aware, atmosphere is one of the warmest right now. And in the subtropical high pressure belt areas, particularly the entire North Indian region. When we talk about North India specifically, it is home to the subtropical high pressure belt for almost the entire year except the monsoons. Why is this important? Because in these latitudes, we observe a sinking air system, and when air sinks, it actually leads to adiabatic heating. Besides, no clouds allow the sun to actually increase the surface temperature. The bottom line is, even if the atmosphere is not warm, air tends to heat up under the subtropical high pressure belt. Now, due to a warmer atmosphere, this sinking air is heating even more. The bottom line is, North India and all these latitudes of the subtropical high pressure belt are facing something known as a flash drought. A flash drought removes water from an area within a few weeks and months. The same amount of water is usually removed in a span of a few years. Hence the name flash droughts. You guessed it right. Since North India is home to flash droughts, it will severely impact all our kharif crop production. Let's analyze some data on this. We already have detailed data presented by the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare as per the third advanced estimates. An analysis on this is very important before we even come to the issue of ethanol blending, because the major crops involved in ethanol blending are all kharif crops. When we talk about kharif crops, this is the latest data of the third advanced estimates. When we talk about maize, primarily it is a kharif crop. The production has fallen drastically. When we talk about bajra, again primarily kharif crop, production has fallen. When we talk about ragi, again kharif crop, production has fallen. Total pulses, when you look at the analysis, total pulses are again falling, although primarily pulses are rabi. But the thing is, both production of pulses of both in the winter season rabi and in the monsoonal season, it is both falling. Total food grains on the whole have fell. When we analyze total soybean production, which is a kharif crop, again it is falling. When we measure the production of total oil seeds, again primarily they are kharif. The kharif production has fallen. Overall oil seed production has fallen. Sugarcane production, again a kharif crop, has significantly fallen. Cotton, which is a kharif crop, again significantly fallen. The bottom line is the flash droughts and faulty policies which were good at the time of the Green Revolution, which initiated the public distribution system, which has led North India, particularly Punjab, Western Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, to produce rice in North India. And all of this depleting groundwater has compromised our kharif crop production. Kharif crops in India are performing very poorly. All of this is the government data. Moreover, as you can very well predict, news has already started coming that maybe the rice output will also fall. Now the thing is, it is more or less anticipated that if rainfall is going to, you can say, deviate, it is not going to be up to the mark, the crop production is going to suffer. Moreover, because of the changing seasons, for example, rainfall is getting erratic. Delayed advent of monsoons means delayed sowing of kharif crops. Delayed sowing of kharif crops and erratic monsoons means erratic production and delayed harvesting. Delayed harvesting of kharif crops means delayed sowing of rabi crops. India is importing wheat from Russia as well. Therefore, we can clearly see that even our rabi crops are under threat. Now, all of this is the broad perspective in which we need to analyze the issue of ethanol blending. All the major crops which are used in ethanol blending are kharif crops, and kharif crops are suffering because of erratic rainfall. Coming to the discussion, let's begin with the first crop used for ethanol blending, that is maize, also called corn. When we talk about developed countries like USA, in USA, maize is primarily a fodder crop. It is used to feed animals and it is also used for ethanol blending. It is not primarily used as consumption for human beings. Therefore, it is not a main food grain in USA. In 2014, USA started diverting a significant amount of maize for ethanol blending. It did not affect their food consumption, but if USA produces more ethanol using their own maize, naturally they will export less maize. Therefore, since 2014, when USA diverted a lot of maize from the share of exports to other countries, it actually created a shortage of maize globally. What did that trigger? It did trigger some food inflation with respect to maize. Food inflation in one crop can easily pass on to the other crops as well. Now, when we talk about maize in India, like I clearly showed you, it is a kharif crop. Maize production has fallen significantly in India. Just to give you an idea how significantly, advanced estimates show that the production has fallen by at least, you can clearly see, by around 14 lakh tons, rather 12 lakh tons. 12 lakh tons is the shortage of maize. No wonder why India is importing maize from USA right now. Now listen to this very carefully. In India, maize is not just a fodder crop, but it is a food crop as well. Human beings in India, the population of India feeds on corn as a source of food as well. Therefore, it is not only going to affect the animals, but the human beings as well. Therefore, lesser corn, what is that going to fuel? Some food inflation. India produce less maize. It is importing maize from USA right now. What is all of that maize being used for? It is used for ethanol blending. There is a shortage of a food grain in India, that is maize. There is a shortage of a main fodder crop in India as well. The main fodder crop for the poultry industry is nothing but maize. There is a shortage of maize. Now the thing is, when we talk about fodder in India, besides corn, the next major fodder in India is wheat stubble. What is wheat stubble? The stem of the wheat crop that remains after we harvest the grains. That is called wheat stubble. It is chopped into smaller pieces and sold as the primary fodder in India. Now the thing is, this year the price of fodder collapsed, which is why it was not economical for wheat farmers to actually harvest wheat stubble, because the price of harvesting wheat stubble was more than they could fetch by selling wheat stubble in the market. What was the result? Farmers in India practiced wheat stubble burning this year. Shortage of wheat stubble in the market, shortage of corn in the market, therefore there is a shortage of fodder in India. No wonder why the prices of dairy products has increased. You must have observed this. Now you can clearly see how diversion of certain food grains with respect to ethanol blending has already started creating some major issue with not just food inflation, but by compromising the food, you can say, different sectors as well. And this is just with respect to maize. When we talk about other industries, I'll be coming back to maize afterwards as well. Right now in India, for ethanol blending, maize is one of the most heavily dependent crop. There is a shortage of maize in India. It is importing maize for ethanol blending. Therefore, prices of maize in India have skyrocketed. You must have observed that. When we talk about the next food crop that is used to produce ethanol, that is sugarcane. In developing countries, the main food crop from which we derive ethanol is sugarcane itself. Brazil, India primarily extract ethanol for ethanol blending from sugarcane itself. Now the thing is, normally the first product that is extracted from sugarcane is called cane juice. The main product that is created by cane juice is sugar. Once sugar is created from the cane juice, the byproduct is called molasses. Molasses is then used to produce ethanol. That ethanol is used for ethanol blending. When you pass through all of these stages, then you are actually using the waste product in a good way. It is not harmful. Ethanol produced from molasses is good. But the thing is, like I told you in the initial point of this analysis, the government of India suo moto preponed its ethanol blending target from 2030 to 2025. In order to meet this preponed target, this year, the government of India actually allowed the industry to use sugarcane juice directly to produce ethanol. You guessed it. Since the industry was allowed to use sugarcane juice directly to produce ethanol, a main product was bypassed, that is sugar. Which is why there was a shortage of sugar, which is why the prices of sugar increased, and we are going to talk about this in the upcoming part of the video as well. Now the thing is, in India, the government of India, once it allowed to actually use sugarcane juice directly for the production of ethanol, it actually saw that it created rapid food inflation. Now, when food inflation began in India, the government of India actually stopped the industry from using sugarcane juice directly. Therefore, this year itself, when the government of India saw that food inflation started increasing rapidly, they actually stopped the industry that, okay, now stop using sugarcane juice directly for ethanol blending. Now the thing is, the damage was done. Now what is taking place? The government of India after this has taken three very bad decisions. Number one, the first decision is that the government of India has allowed to use sugarcane juice directly for ethanol blending. The government of India has again allowed that we are about to use again sugarcane juice directly for ethanol blending. Naturally, sugar is going to be produced in lesser quantity. We can expect increase in prices of sugar in the short term. I'll be discussing more on this right now. This year, in the third week of September, the India Sugar and Bioenergy Conference took place in New Delhi. There were three key stakeholders in this meeting. First is the government of India itself. Second is the sugar manufacturing industry. The third is the ethanol biofuel manufacturing industry. Now the thing is, in this conference, what was the outcome of this conference? Number one, when the sugar industry purchases sugar canes from the farmers, the price that they pay to the farmers is called fair remunerative price. When the sugar industry purchases sugar cane from the farmers, they pay them something called fair remunerative price. Now, since 2019, or rather, as of today, the fair remunerative price for sugarcane is 305 rupees per quintal per 100 kilograms. In this conference, after this conference, the government of India has actually allowed to increase the fair remunerative price for sugarcane to 340 rupees per quintal. They said that since the fair remunerative price for sugarcane has not increased in the past few years, therefore the government of India thought good that we are going to give farmers a little more amount per quintal for every, you can say, sugarcane sold to the sugar industry. Now, when the sugar industry is now going to produce sugar by it, they need to sell that sugar as well. When the sugar is sold by the sugar industry, there is something called the MSP on sugar. This MSP on sugar is called minimum selling price on sugar. The minimum selling price for sugar since 2019 was around 3,100 per quintal, per 100 kilograms. Now, the sugar industry is demanding that increase this minimum selling price of sugar to around 3,900 per quintal. Till this discussion, you can clearly make this analysis that lesser kharif crops are being produced. There is going to be a diversion of cane juice for ethanol blending. Naturally, there is going to be a shortage of sugar production as well. Therefore, the sugar industry is going to earn some profit from this as well. And the third outcome of this conference was that the ethanol blending lobby, which is basically going to produce ethanol from sugarcane, is also demanding that increase the price of ethanol so that they can also earn more profits. On the whole, when you talk about these issues of maize and sugarcane, can you not imagine the amount of food inflation that is about to strike India? Let's add the third aspect to this debate as well. The second part of this conference is going to be, you can say, scheduled in January. So kindly make sure that you follow this as well. Coming to the third most important food grain that is used for ethanol blending in India, that is broken rice. In order to understand the impact of broken rice, first we need to understand what is the importance of broken rice in India. Rice is the main food crop of India. We are all aware about that. And you can say most of the rice distributed in the public distribution system and the midday meal scheme comes from Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh. All of these are suffering under flash droughts. Naturally, the crop production is going to suffer. Now the thing is, This broken rice, first all the rice passes through something called, you can say, milling, and in this it is undergoing a process called polishing. The outer layer of fat present on every grain of rice is removed, that is called bran. All the rice that you find in the market has a layer of bran removed from it. Now that every grain of rice originally contained a lot of zinc, iron and vitamin B12 in the layer of bran. Now the government of India has a lot of broken rice which is devoid of all those nutrients, and all of these rice devoid of nutrients is to be supplied in the public distribution scheme. And naturally, we are all aware that every second or third child in India is malnourished, which is why we have schemes like public distribution scheme and midday meal scheme, so that we can actually target malnourishment as well. When this broken rice devoid of any nutrient will be given to that child, we certainly cannot expect some growth or improvement in their nutritional aspect, which is why the government of India practices something called rice fortification. These broken grains of rice are actually converted into a powder, and into this powder we add vitamin B12, we add zinc, we add folic acid, which is a source of iron. All of these were already originally present in rice, but since they were already extracted by the industry, the government has to add all of these back artificially. Now when all of these nutrients are added artificially in the rice powder, it is converted into a paste by mixing it with water, and every grain of rice is made again. This process is called fortified rice kernel. Naturally, this process makes fortified rice kernel expensive. We mix fortified rice in broken rice, which is then supplied in the midday meal scheme. Now you can actually understand the importance of broken rice in India. Like I told you, the government of India took 3 decisions which are actually going to prove very harmful for India. The first one was that they will use sugarcane juice directly again to produce ethanol. Second bad decision was that they are using maize for ethanol blending as well. The third bad decision was that they are now going to start using broken rice to produce ethanol for ethanol blending as well. All these kharif crops, which have very important, you can say, areas of utility in India, which are already falling in production, will now be diverted to produce ethanol for ethanol blending. What is the bottom line? Are you not visualizing the amount of food inflation that is about to hit us? Moreover, let me give you one more point. Broken rice is used for a very important product as well. Broken rice is used to produce liquid glucose. Liquid glucose finds its use not just in pharmaceutical industry, but also in the textile, leather and many industries as well. Naturally, due to diversion of broken rice for ethanol blending, right now most of the plants producing liquid glucose from broken rice are actually shut. They are not functioning because of all of this mismatch. All of this is going to spiral up and lead to further inflation. Now the thing is, the government of India is actually considering that now when we are going to calculate the headline inflation, they want to remove food inflation from it. You can guess why. Because we are about to see a skyrocketing food inflation about to hit. And the former RBI governor, Mr. Raghuram Rajan, has already warned the government of India that this definitely should not be done. Because if you remove food inflation in the calculation of headline inflation, it is actually going to mislead the people. It will appear as if there is no inflation, but there will be a very high price rise in the food prices, right? Naturally, it is going to create some confusion in the market. But nevertheless, all of this is important, which is why headline inflation, calculation of headline inflation becomes important from the economy point of view. You can expect such questions in the pre-exam because that is how UPSC asks questions. Some issue is in news. Many associated issues are linked to it all of those associated issues become important for the exam. Nevertheless, one more aspect with respect to rice becomes important over here. Many states in India produce rice in winters that is called Rabi rice. Naturally, that rice grain is very dry and broken. We take that broken grain of rice within the husk and soak it in lukewarm water for 6 to 8 hours. In that process, it becomes partially boiled and therefore it is called parboiled rice. India is one of the leading exporters of parboiled rice to Africa as well. You must have heard this earlier this year and last year as well, that India stopped exporting rice. Can you not imagine that this year also India is about to do the same? You will start seeing news that India is going to stop the export of rice. And as always, Western nations will again blame India that since we are going to export lesser rice to African nations, they will blame us that we are fueling food inflation in Africa as well. Now, this parboiled rice is highly rich in nutrient. Why is it not that you can say famous? Because it is partially cooked, therefore it smells and it looks yellow. Therefore, it is not that aesthetically well in nature, but highly rich in nutrients. Nevertheless, one major issue is also in news. We are all proceeding towards 20% ethanol blending. For what? For vehicles? Are you also aware about this? That our vehicles in India actually fit to run on E20 fuel or not? Some manufacturers, some vehicles, some latest models of some brands, some car manufacturers, some scooter manufacturers can actually run on E20 fuel. Is the government of India actually doing something about it? I'm not sure. But the thing is, if you use E20 fuel in vehicles which are not supposed to run on higher ethanol blending, you will find that there is a huge corrosion activity that is going to take place in those vehicles. Ethanol is highly corrosive. If you use E20 fuel in older vehicles which are not meant for running on E20 fuel, their fuel lines, all the mechanism that is going to inject fuel, transfer fuel, that is going to corrode very rapidly. And the good part is, sarcastic comment, that you cannot even file a case against it. Why? Because when you purchase the vehicle, in the terms of agreement, of insurance, etc., it is written even in the car booklet that you cannot use fuel more than E10. E10 means blending is up to 10%. They have clearly said that you cannot use that higher blending of fuel. Now, if you use E20 fuel in your E10 car and your fuel system degenerates, you cannot even file a case or you cannot even claim it as insurance. Something must be done about it, and this is a major issue that is about to crop up. You can just imagine the stakes are so high that the government is already targeting that 25% ethanol blending will be targeted very soon. These are more or less the broader perspectives or broader issues that are associated with ethanol blending. Now the thing is, I have given you a very comprehensive analysis on this issue. You will find detailed notes on all of this. I have made a very detailed document on every issue, and I'll share a link with this YouTube video. You'll find it in the description. I have uploaded the document containing all the relevant issues and subpoints. I have made relevant summaries for every subpoint. Towards the end, I have made comprehensive summaries of the entire document as well. All of these documents are available to be downloaded from our Telegram channel and from our WhatsApp channel as well. So this is all for the first issue of the missing link. Stay tuned for further issues. Thank you.